Bam, we're live. When I think of Noble, when I think of Noble, I see their logo. I think of the Twin Towers burning down, and I think of them as a fascist, hateful organization that's just a tool of the man, a complete sellout brand to the fullest, 100%. I think their original story is they came up with the name and then they came up with the product, and they're just fucking sellouts. They don't want. They're okay with men and women's sports. Call me old school, but I think women should be I think women and men should be separate. They should compete over here, and there could be something like we could do a different event where we compete together. Hi, Cara.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you.
We deserve better. Dude, hey, Car, do you not do podcasts normally? Is it how I was like I look around for interviews with you, and like, man, it's tough. I think you're like have the third biggest following or fourth biggest following out of active female CrossFitters, and yet and then I've talked to other podcasters and they're like, how the fuck do you get her?
I'm a bit picky. I am a little bit picky. I'm just precious with my time. So I'm like, look, you're easy because of like been there, done that. I know it's good. So, and then others, usually the only way in is if they sort of know someone or someone's recommended them. And then I'm like, okay, sweet, I trust. But
if they've given like, Maddie a handy in the past, they're in.
I'm just like, I don't know. I think not all podcasters like intentions are kind of the same. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like a bit funny. So I'm not a no, but
you're in America.
I'm in America. Yeah. I'm in Tennessee for the last day today.
Yeah. You're at the Mayhem Empire.
I am. Yep. In the Airbnb right now.
Yeah. Is it fun? I heard Patrick Clark say something too that like, I don't know if this number could possibly be true, but like 20% of the game's athletes are now, is it really like that? Is it like walking around and you're like, oh, there's there's that team, there's that dude, there's that girl.
Yeah, there's people everywhere. There's athletes everywhere. It's like, I didn't even realize how many there actually were. And yeah, heaps of individual athletes, heaps of team athletes. Like they're obviously just doing it right and people want to be there. So it's been a really good time. Epic prep.
What's the protocol? I'm an athlete, you're an athlete, but I want to come take a picture of you. Can I just come over and be like, hey, like,
look, I think everyone's got their own protocol. I think it depends how approachable you are. I'm pretty like, when I'm over here, I'm a lot more relaxed because I don't have like my normal life stuff to do. Like we are here to train, hang out with my daughter, we come back to the Airbnb and eat and chill. Like I don't have to do all of the normal life logistics. So I'm like so much more chill. So I'm happy to like stop and take a photo. If someone gets me like, obviously if I'm in the middle of a workout or something, like that's a pain in the ass. But most people are pretty good. And I think the people in Mayhem are so used to it because there's always athletes there. So like their members and everything are like super respectful. They're really chill. But yeah, I think every athlete's a little bit different. Some might not like it and kind of want to stay in their bubble a little bit and they might separate themselves in another area or whatever. But for me, I'm kind of like, it doesn't bother me right now.
Do you have a training buddy there yet already?
I've been training a little bit with everyone. So I definitely have found we kind of got loosely split into kind of some groups for the sake of like the times that we were in spaces, just to not have everyone in one space, like all crowded at the same time. But I ended up kind of just at times naturally training with like some of the boys, like some of the like other international boys and a couple of the girls, like Victoria. She's really cool. And we just kind of like,
where's she from? Where's Victoria from?
Brazil, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's really cool. And it's just like, if it sort of works out, the one thing that's actually been really good is there's heaps of different athletes. And I think, but there's been like a pretty good vibe. Like it's kind of like, hey, you know, say we're doing something with like a piece of equipment that there's only one of, like a pig or something like that. We'll be like, hey, Shway, are you doing that? Do you want to go 1-to-1 in each other's rest? And we're super chill to do that. I think like there has to be a certain dynamic with athletes. Like some are good about it and some like obviously don't want to be around anyone like pre-competition. But for me, I mean, I'm old dog. I've been around 10 years. It's not going to change anything now if someone sees what I can or can't do. Like they know my tricks. And so I just like do me, and yeah, it's been pretty good. And the boys are good value. And
Whoa. The boys are good value. What's that mean?
Oh, like
they're good.
They're good to train around. So there's like, we've got like Baden came from Australia in the last couple of days. And then there's like Lazar and Aldous and like people I haven't really trained with before. And they're pretty cool. They're like, oh, we'll do a workout with you. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, I'm like, look, I'm used to training in the front yard, often with no music because I need to hear my daughter running underneath me, it's not glamorous. So like, I don't really care. I'll roll with whatever's there. I just get the work done.
I'm not asking you if you care, but I want you to be honest with me.
All right, always.
How much has your training suffered now that you're running a nanny shop and a super high end athlete shop in the same fucking 100 square feet?
Oh, mate, it's chaos. It's chaos. Look, there's times where it does suffer, and then in the other sense, it's almost better because I appreciate and take advantage of the good time when I have the good time, when I can do something. So I think the quality that I'll put in to those other times might be a little bit better because I appreciate it and I know how hectic it can be. So say, for instance, like if Maddie's home from work or whatever, and I've got his help or whatever, and I know I'll like be all in. There's definitely times where like the hardest part has been like I might miss a session, I might have to miss a piece because.
Yeah, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah,
that's mentally must be like you have to like for people. It's not just like you missed a session. Like I know I'm assuming that it's like I'm gonna do this, and then and it's like singularly focused, and then I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this over here. Like you're gonna train to win the CrossFit Games, then all of a sudden you're gonna be over here changing diapers and tending to a sick child or a hurt toe. It's like that's a gnarly shift.
I think
emotionally.
It can be. I'm like
it can be. Sorry, it can.
Yeah, be. I'm pretty much a realist. Like I think in the early days when she was really little and I didn't really like know as much, it was a little bit harder. But like she's just turned 3. Like I know how it goes now. I know shit goes down. I know it gets flipped upside down, and you don't know when that's going to happen. So the one thing I always tell myself is I'm like stressing about not training will do more damage than not training. So like the stress overall, like systemically is just like chronic and like no good. So I just try not to make a deal of it. I'll put in a little bit more next time or whatever. Like it's not ideal. There's some little things that are kind of hard. For instance, like I would, one thing that I'm not like super prepared on is like I have to run a lot more on like my air runner at home because I'm at home with my daughter. I can't like leave her inside and just go for a run, outside. I'm not going to drag her to the track or whatever. So like my conditioning, say to like outdoor running versus like running on an air runner, I get the work done, sure, but it's a little bit different. So like there's just some sacrifices like that. But I'm like, I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. And the reality is I made a choice. Like I wanted to have a kid. I did. It comes with some changes. I just own them and do the best I can with what I have. But I also want to parent a certain way. And I'm just not willing to compromise on that. So that's my like on my list of priorities. Like that's at the top. And so I always just come back to that. I'm like, look, she's just more of a priority. Like, and the competition just had to kind of go down a notch. Like that's just the pecking order in our house now. So yeah, it can definitely be a little bit frustrating at times, and you definitely I miss training sessions. Or like I remember going into the gym one day and just like had this whole plan to get stuff done. I packed like the bag for Scotti. Like I had to go into the local gym because I needed like a rope climb. And it was like raining at home or something. We went in, I pack all the snacks and all the stuff to keep her going, whatever. And she has a meltdown, and she's like, I'm looking at this kid and I'm like, this kid just like fully like needs her mum right now. Like something's going on. Like she needs a hug. She needs to like not sit here and deal with my shit for a minute. And I'm like, do you want a smoothie? Like you want to go get a smoothie? You want to just bin this? And she's like, yes, like she's just emotional. I'm like, all right, pack the shit up. We'll go down to the beach. We'll get a smoothie and we'll sit there. Like,
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, and like that just happens sometimes. And yeah, it's not ideal, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I chose to have it this way. So I can't.
It's like people who get a dog and then your dog chews your shoes and then you're pissed off. And it's like, hey dude, that's what dogs do.
100%.
If you get a new dog, you are going to lose a pair of shoes. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so don't be an idiot and argue with reality. And then another thing you said that's powerful in there is, especially for people who have parents, they all heard it. You want to parent a certain way and you're uncompromising about it. It's going to be, and man, I wish there were more parents like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think like everyone's obviously got their own sort of like goals and definitions of how they want to parent. I don't think there's one that's necessarily more right than the other. Like depends on how you've grown up. And yeah, I know you do. I know you
some
do.
opinions.
I mean, I have some, but I also am pretty like compassionate to like people's different situations. But and
very good dude.
But I have the idea of like how I want to parent. I want to be super present with my kid because I think if you don't pay attention in the early days, they end up a prick later, and you can't fix that because that's all they've known. Like you can't go to them at 12 and be like, hey, why are you being a bitch? Like, why don't you want to talk to me? Why do you have all these issues? Like, oh, well, I didn't pay attention when it really counted. Like for the things that were their big things when they were small, like it might seem small, but it's big for them. And so I think I've got to build that foundation from early to like essentially contribute a pretty good human being to the world. And I take that pretty seriously. Plus like super fun. Like I love her. She's my little bestie. So
bestie.
Yeah.
There was a picture of you I'm looking for. It's fucking incredible. It was posted recently and you're standing with a bar over your head.
It might have been on Mayhem in like I was doing like
yes.
lunges.
Yes. My God, you look so beautiful. It's fucking nuts.
Oh, thanks.
But are you crooked?
Am I crooked? What do you mean?
See your torso?
Yeah, I don't know if that's it's very likely that I'm
like crooked. That's how I look when my back hurts, but worse in the mirror. I look up in the mirror, my torso is not sitting on my head. I'm like, damn, is that like that's one of the most beautiful bodies I've ever seen, but is it crooked? Like, is she wounded?
Look, I don't know. I'm not wounded, but I mean, we're all a little bit wounded. Like I'm 32 and I've got 10 years of like CrossFit under my belt, so I'm a little bit wounded. But yeah, I could very likely be. I don't know if it's like
look at your abs, how they kind of go off like this.
Yeah, so I definitely have had like I guess more of a history of like if I have any issues, it's definitely like twisting stuff like with my hips, especially after I have my daughter, like stuff just moves. But yeah, and I definitely kind of end up one-sided post travel, who knows? But like, look, I'm still like marching along, twisted or not.
Will you share? You're going to share your shirt money with the athletes, but not Tia, right? She got enough money, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like I mean, I think it's only fair because she's already got her own jersey and will get her own contribution. That the goal was, I was like, look, there's only
you're gonna segregate. You're sexist, racist. No white girls. White girls can't get the money.
Yeah, clearly, I'm just a really sore
privileged class.
I'm just a sore loser, right? I just figured I'm like, look, if I divvied it up, say between like all of the Australians, we're lucky to get a coffee each, right? But
yeah.
So I'm like, I'll divvy it up in my class of anyone who didn't get a jersey. And she was obviously the only other one that got a jersey. So she's more than welcome to do the same thing, but that's on her. That's like her decision. But yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. I don't know what that'll look like. I don't know what like their order, like what their quantities are, what they're ordering or anything like that, or what that money will look like. But I'm like, look, if it buys a couple of beers at the end of it or pays for a little bit of something, then whatever. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I noticed you were extremely, especially for you, how my perception, the little box that I keep Cara Saunders in and don't let you get out of, my impression of you is you were extremely humble and loving towards her and generous with your person at the Torium Pro.
Nice.
At the end. Yeah. I think of you as more as a fierce, I do see you as a very fierce competitor, but at the end, I hadn't seen that side of you before.
Oh, like the mom. Oh, like the mom side, or with Tia?
With Tia, just the respect. Yeah, just the respect. Just the utmost respect that you gave her.
Yeah, look, I think I do have respect for everything that she's achieved, and I think you'd be pretty crazy not to. Yeah. Like she's done something that like no one else has done in our sport, no other female has done, right? So
or dude.
That's right at this point. So you would be crazy to not like, you pay respect where respect is due. And And so, yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's always that like-mindedness, right? Like whether, people always say like, oh, what athletes are friends with who and blah, blah, blah. And like all of that aside, we all have one thing in common. Like we do the same thing and we understand the work it takes to be there. And so like better than anyone, I understand how hard she's obviously worked, right? Like, and I can totally value that. I know what it takes. And then to be like achieving high, like, and plus like, it doesn't hurt to just be a nice person. Like it just, I don't know. There's enough like shit in the world. Like
you've gotten soft. You had a kid and you got soft.
Oh yeah, I did. I tell Maddie all the time. I'm like, you made me soft, man. I was like independent woman, and now I'm like all dependent and like chill, and
giving away money.
Yeah, legit. Although I said this, I'm like, I was definitely like so much more like hot-headed in my younger days. Like I grew up an only child for a long time, very independent, like just always did my own thing. I hate help. I hate being helped, all that kind of stuff. I just like love doing stuff for myself and really, really fierce. And like that, there's definitely still an element of that. But over time, if you kind of like lose control of it, it kind of would just make me like cranky. And I'm like, man, I had like a couple of things happen in life that were hard. And I'm like, I don't want to get around the world being cranky. I'm like, it just feels like shit, like I don't want to, it's not like really doing anything for me. And honestly, it's just like, yeah, my life's pretty good. Like, there's just no reason to like kind of be hot-headed or crazy. I'm like, I really enjoy my life. Like,
it takes so much energy too to like be in that mindset and to be that way towards people. It's so much of an energy drain as opposed to just going with the flow and being more giving.
Yeah, totally. It is. I think a lot of it just come from like, I don't know, bloody past family trauma or whatever. And it's just shit that you have to work through. And I think having, I literally think like, oh, the Paul, stop it. I'm still badass, man. I still got some. I got a little bit left, but I think having my daughter, like when you have a kid, you like really look at yourself in the mirror. I don't know if that's like just a mum thing or some people, but I found like I was like, man, I don't want to pass my shit onto my kid. Like,
I think that my wife and I talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
even if you have to be a little fake, like stay in control. Don't pass your shit on to your kid.
Yeah, I'm like I definitely, I feel like I cop the brunt of that from my parents. Like I don't have a good relationship with my parents, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do that to her because it feels crappy. And so I was like, I kind of need to sort my stuff out. Like, and I went through a phase where I think she might have been like 1 or 2. And it was really tough because I was like doing the work, right? Like the internal work, like working on me and going like, I don't want to, like, who do I want to be? Like, who do I want her to see? Because they don't listen to anything you say. They just copy you. They copy everything that you do. And I'm like, I can tell her whatever, but it's all going to come down to like how Maddie and I interact with each other. That's how she's going to interact in a relationship one day. How we talk to each other, how we talk to other people, everything we do.
Hey man, how you talk to your parents too.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part, right? You got some beef with your parents and like, you better squash that shit or your fucking kid's going to turn 30 and bring that shit right back like a mirror to you.
Yes.
Hey, like a simple thing just to make it practical. Like if I go in my car and I'm leaving the house and I didn't kiss my wife goodbye, and even if I'm in a hurry and it's not a big deal, I go back in, hug her, squeeze her butt, kiss her, tell her fucking I love her to death, ask her if there's anything she needs. The whole thing is fake as shit. But I want my kids to see, and it starts to feel real as you go through the motions, obviously by the end, and we laugh and we giggle. And but I do that for my kids.
Yeah, 100%. We do the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, man, like, or if I fight, like the thing I always say, we got to make up in front of them.
Yeah.
We're teaching them how to fight. I have to come to you and say, I'm sorry I raised my voice to you. Completely inappropriate. What a joke that I lost control because you left the fridge open.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, right? You got to be like, even if I'm like fucking hating myself, I'm not even humble enough to say it. I'm sorry. Like
right through the teeth.
For them.
Yeah.
For them.
And then in saying that too, you like, we talk about it a lot. We're like, you can't not fight either because you don't want to like shelter them from the world. Like, look,
no.
I want them to know how to fight too. All my friends who they don't fight with their wives or their girlfriends, their shit's fucked.
Yeah.
You have to know how to fight.
Yeah, you just like get it out, and then it's like how you recover and how they see it recover, and like I said, then they copy that. Like that's all they know. They watch and they copy like the good and the bad. So you just have to like tread like. Plus, it's like I don't know. You say like it's kind of fake to like come back and, you know, do that little routine. But it's not fake. It's just forced the energy wise, right? The process.
Yeah. I mean, I still love her and I'm glad I did it, but I'm doing it for ulterior motives. But then it starts to feel real, like, you know, once I do it. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. And they just, they just copy. I'm like, honestly, there's just, I don't know. I take parenting pretty seriously, not in like a stress serious kind of way, but I'm like, I made this human. Like, I don't want to put a shit person out in the world and be like, I'm responsible for that.
It's our only legacy, man. It's our only legacy.
Yeah. And plus you get to like have cool people to hang out with and look after you when you're old.
Yes. PMI Premium Services, Ricardo Montalban, the most generous person we ever have, always in the chat. Well, maybe there's the Olsen dad too, and Sarah Cox, but this guy's dope. Tell Cara that she's my favorite female athlete.
Oh,
no, I refuse to. This means you're a good parent from Wad Zombie. Our mutual, maybe he's your friend, but I admire him. Mr. Royce Dunn cannot come to the country because he refused the injection. I mean, fuck, I admire him for. I want to fucking move the whole CrossFit Games to Australia because of that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you guys. And he wrote on there in his Instagram post, which I don't agree with, is that he made the choice. He didn't make the fucking choice. All the other idiots made the choice. He didn't do shit. Yeah. He doesn't deserve to be punished at all. He didn't do nothing.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a read through like some of the comments. I was talking to Royce, like, I love Royce. He's a good dude. I like talk to him like fairly often. And I was like, oh, sorry it happened, man. Like, it's shit. It's really nothing short of shit. Like, it's really, but like, he's good. Obviously, my personal thing is, I think everyone has a right to their choice. Like, I think it's no one else's business in so many other ways. I think you do you, man.
But it's the people who got the injection who made the choice. Well, they chose. He's saying he made the choice not to get it. It seems like word fuckery to me to say like, well, I'm choosing right now not to fucking stab myself with a knife. I'm not. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. It's a tricky situation. I mean, I kind of have like through this whole time I've stayed pretty away from any like through all that talk, I guess, like any jab talk, any stuff. I'm like, I feel like it when I engage in like the conversation, especially on socials, right? If I engage in the conversation too much or get into it too much, you just open the door for anyone who like you never have a conversation with and who you don't give a shit about their opinion to come straight in and start like, meh. But man, I 100% stand by Royce and his decision and what he feels like all power to him, man. I wish more people like had the backbone that he does to stand by his decision and do what's right for him and his family. And I know that he feels like really good and comfortable in it. Like yes, he didn't really he had to make a choice, but really wasn't kind of given a choice. It was, he just had to, he was punished for having an opinion essentially, right? For having an opinion or a view, which I think, I don't know, opinion. We're not allowed opinions or views anymore. That's not
illegal. That's illegal now. Illegal.
We're like
shadow ban.
Yeah, Maddie and I talk about it a lot. Like one thing we've always done really well in our relationship is like we can have like a super differing opinion. It doesn't happen often. There'll be like a handful of things where we're like, you know, where we'll differ and we'll talk about it and we'll like say our views and then we'll be like, oh man, like I just don't think I want to see your side. He's like, yeah, I just disagree with you. And we're like, okay, cool, man. Like let's just move on. Like you feel like that, I feel like this. It's not really affecting our day to day. Like there's nothing huge for the major things. We're on the same page, but we're like, it's cool. Like that's what an opinion is. But these days, everyone just wants to hear their words out of somebody else's mouth. And that's just not how the world works. Like, you know, so I literally like a while back, I just like took a step back. I'm like, I'm not getting involved with it. I'm not having conversations with people who like don't even want to entertain or hear anything I have to say. Oh, what's the point? I'll talk about it. Maddie and I'll have a whinge and talk about it in our bubble and then move on. But because it got super heated in Australia for a long time. It was like everything was like super crazy. So
Yeah, people don't like being forced to take drugs and drugs being forced on their kids. Some people don't
No,
like that so much.
Some people don't agree with
no.
that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then the divide.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, super weird. But the divide between what was even crazier is like just the divide between friends and family members and everything just for having a different view instead of being like, hey, you do you, man, and what you need to do for your family and your workplace and whatever else is you need to do or that you want to do. And then I'm going to do over here what's right for me and my family and blah, blah, blah. And just leaving it at that. People are like losing friends of like, 20 years and like it's just hectic. And I'm like, whatever, it's good. I think those kind of attitudes like come through and it just kind of like clears the trash out for you. It makes it super easy, tidy up your life a little bit, have some good stuff around you and charge on.
I'm very curious how you got into this country, but I'm going to wait until our next podcast to ask you. How is Maddie?
He's good. He's living the look. He's got it a little bit tough right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, dude, with like we're in the thick of it.
Maddie's her husband, by the way. He was the baby batter donor that made the baby. That's that guy.
That made me soft.
That made you soft. Yeah, he ruined cars.
He is in full like daddy daycare mode hard. Like he's the primary right now. If anyone is responsible for our daughter, that's him right now. And he does a gnarly job at that. He's always epic like that. We're full like co-parents all the way, even in everything we do anyway. But right now he's kind of, it's like if something's really wrong, he's like, if she's not sleeping, he's the one that goes into her bed, it's not me right now. I've got the free pass. If I'm training in the gym and she's being wild and running around trying to get under people's barbells, like he's the guy that has to stop and go get her. Like, so it's not the most fun for him right now. He's doing really well. Like he's not complaining, don't get me wrong. But I can see, I'm like, oh, it's not like the most fun. Like it's not a holiday for him here. Like he's kind of working and then making sure that, I'm good and sorted and helping me out. Like he wears 1,000 hats, that man. I swear there's nothing he can't do.
Oh, you should walk by him later today and be like, man, you're so lucky. He's gonna be like, why? He's all, because you're getting to practice selflessness. I'm giving you this opportunity. Oh, fuck, Maddie, I treat you so good. I'm giving you a chance to be enlightened right now.
To raise up, to just
to just be like, I am selfless. Danielle Brandon has been in the spotlight recently for a shift in coaches. I know that you went through something in a time that was equally as hard, probably, but there wasn't the spotlight on it because social media and just the sport wasn't where it was at, and CrossFit wasn't where it was at, and now it's like really like there's just this floodlight that can just go anywhere. That when you switched coaches, you had a longtime coach that everyone just pictured you always at the games with, and then he wasn't your coach. Did that happen close to the games?
Yeah, super close. So I think it would have been maybe like a month or two. It might have been like just after the like the semifinals or something like that, I think. So
which would have been the regionals back then. Okay.
Yep, the regionals back then. And then that kind of like all ended. And obviously he'd been my coach since the start. I think maybe it didn't get as much spotlight either because he wasn't like a famous coach, right? Like wasn't like didn't have other athletes or anything like that.
But your relationship was similar to his and Kotler's in the sense that, man, it was perceived from the outside as a very special relationship. I mean, like you guys were like a team. Like when I would see you guys, I mean, it was cool.
Yeah, we definitely did have that. And I think that relationship 100% like served its purpose. I'm forever grateful for the time and dedication that he gave to me and the role that he kind of stepped up to, because he was just an affiliate owner, right? Like he learned how to coach and be there for me in something that he had never done before and taught me things that I still take into competition to this day. Unfortunately, back then, that year and everything was super crazy for me. And then on a personal front, there was some like conflicts there and like some choices that I made in my life and that didn't align with him either. And then we kind of like, I was like, look, I can't be in this like negative, I hate to throw the word around, but kind of toxic situation, right? And I was like, it's just no good for me. Like this has kind of done its thing and we just parted ways. And I was kind of like I was gym hopping leading up to flying to the US. I reached out to Dan Bailey and was like, oh, can you write some workouts for me? Like just put anything together. Cause I'm like, I have no idea how to do this prep thing on my own. I don't know how to taper or anything. Like I kind of know, but I've never had to actually be the one, with the pen to paper. And so he just threw some random stuff and we were just winging it. And yeah, it kind of paid off.
In the sense that you had good games.
Yeah, but I think for me, like I felt really...
And Maddie was there with you. You were a different person that year. You were kind of like on the love cloud, like you were like floating around and shit.
I totally was. And I think I felt like liberated, like I was free. Like I think for me, the relationship that I had like with Brian as a coach, like this is my like later on analysis, right? Is like I had a really bad relationship with my dad. Like I haven't seen my dad in, I don't know, over 10 years or something like that. I get a text message once a year. But I think like for me, he kind of filled that void a little bit of like a father figure and was really like carrying me through so many aspects of my personal and professional life and was always there. And it definitely like helped me a lot. And then I kind of got to a point where I was like, oh, I kind of feel a little bit like suffocated and a little bit controlled. And I just hit this point where like, how old would I have been? Maybe like 26 or 27. And I was like, then I'd gotten together with Maddie and I was like, hey man, like, I just want to like be my own woman, you know, like I wanted to be set free and I broke away. I just felt so liberated. I was like, no one can tell me what to do. I'm making my own decisions. I was like, I don't care if I make all the wrong ones. I just want them to be mine. Like I'm kind of stubborn like that too, I guess, like that whole like independent, I'd lost that independence that I had when I was a kid. And that's like my strong point. And so then to like move away, I just felt so like, yeah, like the power was like, it was put back to me. And I think that's a huge, and then obviously
so different than what Danielle's going through.
Mm-hmm,
but
almost the opposite.
It was interesting. Yeah. Because I think her coach was the one who, the way I'm understanding the story, it was her coach who was like, okay, I've had enough and we need space. We need to part ways.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I mean, like I'm in like my little Australia bubble, right? Like I don't really know too much of like what's going on.
I was just imagining what it was like a month before the games to have such a dramatic shift. But for you, it sounds like, and it sounds like maybe she's finding that place too. Well, one, it sounds like she's going to process. She's pushed it down and she's going to process it after the games. And probably I'm guessing that's what her coach and her new coach and all those people are going to do too, because they have to tend to the present moment. But for you, it was like taking a colossal shit. Like you needed, like, you were free, you were freed from something.
Yeah, it was a real release. And I think like for me, I think the best thing I did was not try and find a replacement, like a new coach, because
but Maddie is kind of a rebound though, right?
Well, like kind of, but he doesn't coach me, right? He just stand there and like chat. He just stands there and looks hot. Yeah, just keep me company, like get me some coffee, like just hang out and keep the good vibes rolling. Like, and that's what you need in between events. Like you need someone to kind of just like, you don't want to be on. I'd like to do some thrusters with you after the event. I think just kind of like writes that on a sheet of paper and slips it to you.
Slides it over.
Oh man.
Motivation.
Yeah. We'd totally do something like that. But yeah, like, so I think for me personally, look, Danielle's like a totally different person. Like I don't know her too well, to be honest. I don't think I've ever had many conversations with her, but everyone's really different. But yeah, if I had have tried to like go and find a replacement, like a proper coach and someone to go, hey, do this and do that, that would have been too much, because that's a really difficult adjustment. And like
you didn't have a coach at the games. That's right. You went there with your new dude, your boy toy.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's hardcore.
But the funny thing is too, because I had no like everything changed, I had like no expectations. I was like, oh man, I've fucked this year. I'm like, who knows what's going to happen now? I don't know if I've trained enough in this last 2 months. Like, so I had zero expectation. And I was like, well, I at least trained for 12 months. So I may as well just go and give it a nudge. And I just like was super chill about it, because I thought I'd fucked it. Like I was like, I'm pretty sure it's done. Like, and then like that, no stress, and just like showing up one workout at a time and doing whatever I had going. I don't know if I've done the right things or not, because no one was there guiding me, was actually one of the best things to happen. So, yeah, it was really good for me, and definitely like a really good evolution for me, like in my adult life, like moving forward, to kind of regain myself and like start doing things a little bit more on my accord rather than sort of like under someone else. Like you just get to an age where like, I just think that doesn't work anymore. Like, and that's why so then I had a coach, Nick at Brute, who was awesome. Like couldn't say a bad thing about the guy. He helped me through years.
That's Nick Fowler.
Nick Fowler, yeah. And he was awesome. And then I kind of hit another, I'm like a phoenix, man. Like I just like constantly, I need to like keep leveling up and rebirthing or something. But
rising from the ashes.
I need to keep rising. It's like my like life's thing. But and I got to a point again where I was like, I'd had Scotti and everything, and I was like, man, like I'm gonna miss training sessions at times. Stuff's gonna get crazy. I'm like, I just don't want to be accountable to anyone. I just want to do whatever I can do, and I don't want to feel guilty because someone's like been there and put their chips in my basket and they're like writing a program for me. I'm like, I just want to like follow a good program, show up as best I can show up, and it's on me. Like it's just mine. I don't have to worry about anyone else. I don't have to get guilt or like. There's no expectations. I just do whatever works for me and my family, and it's like within our household, and it's good. So, I think, and obviously, like it's super different for everyone. Like you look at Tia, it's like totally different situation. Like Shane, helps her out so much and kind of like carries that and guides that, and they've got that working relationship that's like really good, and that wouldn't work for the next person. So
you think?
Yeah. Well, so I think from the outside, I'm not in the bubble, so I don't know, but yeah, that so it looks like. But every athlete, I mean, there's 40 athletes or something, or 30 athletes. I don't know. I should know by now, but however many are on each side, and I'm sure everyone's pretty different.
Elise Carr Rideau wants to give you $5 to have you buy a coffee, but she knows that I won't give you the money.
I can't drink too much coffee. It makes me crazy, but thank you.
So you chose Mayhem Programming because that suits you. You get the programming, you go home, and you and the family find a way for you to get it done. No guilt, no pressure.
Yeah, no emotional attachment.
I'm sure you put pressure on yourself, but besides that,
to a degree, like you need an element to do well. There's a healthy amount of pressure, and then it can get out of control. But Maddie was actually signed up and doing the workouts, and he's like, look, I think you're just gonna, at this point in your career, like it's hard enough to show up every day with a kid. And he's like, I think it's got a lot of your weaknesses, but it's also really fun. And I'm like, just hit that point where I'm like, I kind of need it to be a good time. I need the pain to be enjoyable. Otherwise, it's really hard to show up every day, twice a day with a kid and all the other stuff. So I just trialed it privately. Like I was just doing it in the garage. I was like, I'll feel it out. And then, I jumped on a call with Rich one day for something. And I was like, hey, man, I'm doing your programming. And like, they didn't know. I was like, I'm still I'm like, I wanted no emotional attachment.
I'm not paying for it. I'm stealing it.
I'm on Maddie's handle.
I'm legit logged into Maddie's. And then, I was going to say something on that. I totally forgot it. But pretty much. And it was like a good time. And that was the thing. I was like, and a program that was like in a week in advance. So I could like, if I looked at my week and I was like, okay, I've got all this like crazy stuff, I could shuffle things around. If something went down and instead of an hour, I had 20 minutes, I could pull something from another day. So I was just trying to take stress off my plate a little bit. And like even having a coach that was in the US was like becoming a bit tricky, like just trying to coordinate in the different time zones and stuff like that. So I'm like, look, they put the effort into their paid clients through an app. Like they have to show up and have it all there in advance with warm-ups and everything. So I'm like, sweet, it's easy. I can just go in. There's like 5 million different tracks that I could move around if I felt like I needed more running or more lifting or whatever it is. And it was just easy. And I could just like hustle on my own privately. So yeah, it's worked out really well.
How did Maddie hit on you?
Or
did you hit on him? How did
do you know what
process?
Do you know what? It's actually an interesting story. So Maddie and I were both previously married. So years ago, we both got married really early. So Maddie was in the army and got married really early. I got married really young too. And
were you married when I met you?
Probably. I got married. I think I did one CrossFit. So people got confused about my names. I did one CrossFit Games under my maiden name. So 2012. And I got married.
Which was what?
Gordon.
Oh shit. Yeah. If I did know that, I'd forgotten that. Wow. Okay.
Yep. And then I got married at the end of 2012. So I was like 22. Maybe I just turned 23. And so we're pretty young, right? We met when I was like really
Very
young. And nice dude. We got to a point where I was like, we're just not the right people for each other. There's no like kind of qualms, whatever. So Maddie and I had actually been coaching in the same gym. Like he'd been in the gym for years and we're all kind of just in friendship circles. He had actually just like ended a relationship with his partner as well, with his wife. And it was like this weird, like perfect storm. And we had like met up one day and we ended up in the gym at the same time and no one else was there. And we're chatting. We're like, oh, how's life going, man? Like, what's going on? And then he's like, oh, you know, I'm in this place, you know, we've kind of split or whatever is happening. And I'm like, dude, same, like crazy. Like I'd gone on this trip and I'd realized that like me and my husband were like just not right. And it just, you know, I'd come back and had that conversation with him. And we're like, oh, that's weird. We were talking about it. And then I just remember this kind of like, like feeling, because we'd been friends for years and I'd never like thought anything because it wasn't an option. And we'd had this conversation and I remember
wow,
kind of like,
it's amazing girls are like that.
Yeah, like
you can a 22-year-old boy can't shut that off. Well, maybe I can. I can now at 50, but like you just like, I'm not even gonna look at you like that because it's not an option.
Yeah, see, like I just
that's
didn't.
impressive.
I was just kind of closed off, and then all of a sudden, when I was like, "Oh, that's kind of done," it's like tough times, but I was still young enough to be kind of naive about it all. And then I remember like us having that conversation, and then having this moment where I was all of a sudden like, oh, I was like, I had this like, oh, I was like half happy, like, and I was like, oh, I'm like kind of attracted to him. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I'm like, we've been friends, and I had like nothing, like I just had never thought about it because it wasn't an option. And then I don't even remember like what have I think like we might have
dudes.
just,
you know what the way dudes are? Dudes are like, I can fuck them all. they're all an option. You're all. I'm gonna get a rope and get all of you. That's how dudes are. Oh, I could get all of you in one bucket and run away. Put you all like catch you like pollywogs.
Literally, I literally had this conversation with him because I was like, hey man, like we're kind of like just like this happened close. Like this was like really close.
That's a great
timing
photo.
We're like, yeah, so cute. We it had happened really close, and I was like, and then it was super weird because it was so close. I remember kind of thinking that and saying to him like, hey man, like, you know, we've kind of marriages or whatever, like just gotten out of this like long-term relationship. Like kind of, are you sure you want to like try this thing? Like you can kind of go out and like you've been married for a really long time for like your whole 20s and same, you know, but I don't know. It was just like, when you find your person, you find your person. It was like, I don't need to like mess around. It was like, oh, we just didn't know, and it wasn't an option, and then all of a sudden it was an option, and then we saw it. Does that make sense? Like it's like all of a sudden,
yes.
like
one of you
like,
could have been really scared by that too. But instead, when I saw you guys at the games, it was intense between you. Not intense in a bad way, in a good way.
Yeah, like
it was obvious you guys were like you were giving him more attention. I'd never seen an athlete giving their fucking dude or their girl more attention than the fucking event. I still to this day have never seen it. It was like you were excited to get off the floor to see him. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, legit. I think, I definitely think, and our personalities too is like, we don't muck around. Like we move fast. Like we got together then. I think we were at the games like 2017. We were pregnant 2018, married 2018, pregnant 2018, baby, house. Like we just, I don't know. It's just like when you know, like this like little glow light came around him, and I was like, oh hey, that's baby daddy. Let's go. Like that's just it just that's how it played out. And I'm like, so it was fast. I'm like, yeah. You would think like on paper you'd be like, look, take some time to come out of a long relationship, but like I don't know if it's just right and it works, and you just roll with it. And
does his family like you? Do his parents like you?
Yeah, they're awesome. I love his family.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're a character, not in a bad way, but I mean, you're unique. You're a fucking warrior. You're a champion.
So is his family.
Yeah. Okay. All right, yeah. I mean, not everyone wants to be around. Not everyone. You know, some people don't want to be around champions. Some people don't want to be around warriors.
They're all. So Maddie grew up like in the bush, like in the country here, and his family's like sassy as like super strong, hardworking. They love a good time. Like they're totally my people. So. I think we're very, very similar and just like fit in like super well. So
that's you right there.
Yes.
I don't even recognize you right there. Is that before or after the baby?
Before.
Okay. Yeah. You guys change after you have a baby. You guys start looking different.
Yeah, we get old and gray and
no. You guys start to look more angelic. I really like this. I like the Annie Thor's daughter mom.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's something about her that like you guys get like start like your wings. It's like you turn into angels, all of you.
I definitely think you come into your own. Look, I think it can go both ways. So I think obviously sometimes parenting can crush a soul for some people, and there's like different environments that can do that. But if everything's sort of right around it, it definitely, I feel like I came into my own. I was like, oh, that's who I am. That's what I like. I'm happy to own that, you know, like I think, so you get this kind of like confidence. You definitely like lose some of the fucks that you had to give because like there's just no time for it.
You
Like,
got time for that shit now.
There's no time for it. Like, don't care. We're just doing this thing. And yeah, definitely like a lot more like content. And then even like in our relationship, there's so much more like contention. Like, I mean, once someone sees you like push a baby out, like there's no going back. There's no going back. So, and then you were there at the business end, like this is me and you forever.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. When I saw your interview with the Morning Chalk Up, this is going to be harsh. I apologize in advance.
Go for it.
When I saw your interview with the Morning Chalk Up, I was surprised. I really like Lauren Khalil, but I hated the interview. I hated the topic. I wanted you to come on there and be like, I don't give a fuck if they give me a jersey or not. like fuck them. They're fucking they're goofballs anyway. Like, what do I give a fuck? Like, I wanted to see like a movement start around you where just like you made your own jersey. Like, fuck those guys. Like, and not because they didn't give you a jersey. Like, it's their business. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I fully support that. Like, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Home cooking. You want to just do fucking transgender people or just gay people, or you want to support men being in women's sports. You do you. But which they do, by the way. And that's why, like, part of the reason why I think they're fucking vile. That they're okay with men and women's sports. But did you think about going the opposite way with that? Like, I'm pushing my own agenda here, by the way. I just
no.
want to just spit anger at them. I apologize. I don't want to get any of that smut on you. You're such a good person, but I was just surprised that you wouldn't be like, fuck off. Like, I don't want a jersey from you.
Yeah, no, honestly, that was a huge part of it. And I was like, I said to Maddie after they were like, oh, you know, we put the vote out and people have like given you a jersey. I'm like, I still don't even know if that's like true or if it's just like a pity jersey. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I don't know. So because I said
meaning you've how are you notified there's gonna be a jersey?
So it was just because obviously people kicked up a fuss about it, and then they put the vote up on Instagram, and then I got an email like, hey, the people have voted, like, you've been chosen, we're going to make a jersey with your name on it.
Right.
And I think, do you know what? I think where I was coming from.
Did they contact you directly, or you see it the same way we see it?
So I saw it, how you saw it first, and then I got an email afterwards. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, because I think Maddie was like, oh, hey, you got a jersey. I'm like, oh, cool. But like, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same to get like one later. Yeah. But I think where I was coming from is like, I don't really care. I don't think the jerseys are even about the athlete. Like, I don't give a fuck about like my ego or anything. Like, I just don't really have one in that regard. But what pissed me off was that it didn't make sense. And I kind of was like looking at everyone, and I'm like, I've been around in competitions and stuff where it's just a popularity contest of like who likes who or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you talk about trying to make this sport professional and all that kind of stuff, and then you go and pull shit like that. And I'm like, I'm just at that point now where I'm like,
but you should have won the popularity contest too. I mean, I'm okay with them doing it by Instagram followers because they have to make money, right? Well, and you're at the top of the heap there. So like, fuck, let's fucking make some cash off Cara Saunders' back.
And this is what I said to them, because I did email them directly. I emailed CrossFit Games directly because I commented on Instagram and they said, shoot us an email. So I sent them an email straight away. And I said, look, there's a couple of reasons why this is not right. And I'm going to say it. I'm not going to just sit around and whinge and not say anything. And it's not about me having a jersey. Like, although I think I'm totally worthy, 100%. I'm like, 10 years, done cool stuff. Like, I'm like, if I'm not. So I said, I looked at the names of the people they picked and I'm like, I can't clearly see like a criteria. I'm like, you're not going off like past champs. So I'm like, if they go, oh, we're going to put up Medeiros and Toomey because, or Toomey or like we're going to put them up because they're past champs. You'd be like, okay, yeah, like they're crowd fair, whatever, you do you. Or last year they did the Noble athletes. I'm like, I don't agree with that either, but it makes sense. It's a Noble business. They're supporting their athletes, whatever. But I'm like, I'm looking at it, and then I'm looking at the Instagram followers. I'm like, I'm trying to connect the dots as to why they chose these people. I'm like, it doesn't connect. And I'm like, so All it is this big ass company with all this money who's put themselves behind what should be a neutral, fair competition, who's picked their favorites of who they like, and they've made it very clear. And I'm like, that message then sends, the message that sends to me is that I'm now walking into a competition where it's not fair. I don't know what's going to go down. How does that now look good, you know, with how does that look?
It's the Dave Eubanks thing, Bob Eubanks, whatever that guy's name is. There it is again. Yeah.
Like, how does that look now with judging or how we're treated out on the floor? Like, is this person going to get better treat? Like, these are you've just clearly shown, you know, obviously you value your money. It's a business. Totally get it. I never like, and a business is going to make the decisions that they want to make for their business. I'll do the same for mine. They shouldn't sit on dead stock for sure. I'd never expect anyone to do that. But now this is a title sponsor of an event of the CrossFit Games that's supposed to support all of the athletes equally. And we're walking into a field of play that is equal and fair. And this is now sent the message that this is not equal and fair because we actually like these people a little bit more. And I was like, that's just not cool, man. Because like all I've ever wanted to do was show up and go, who's the best here? Let's just do some crazy shit, throw all these events at us and go, who's the fittest, who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who can do all of this stuff. That was the person in an even fair competition. We all wore the same gear. We did the same stuff. We had the same judging standard. And like, we're just still lacking that, you know. And you know what, to be honest, I was even scared to like say anything at the start because I was like, oh man, someone's going to like be out to get me now and bloody slip something in my drink. And like, you know, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't even say anything pre-competition out of the pure paranoia that then something's going to happen to my ride. Yeah, I was
no one fucks with the Mayhem Empire.
Yeah, don't worry. They roll deep.
Rich will beat their ass. Hey, this is Colton Mertens didn't get a shirt, and this is a shirt anyone can buy. By the way, I want to shamelessly plug him now. This is a dope shirt. I own this shirt. I bought this shirt. It's from Vindicate. You want to support Colton Mertens? That he works on a farm with 16,000 pigs. If you go to his Instagram account, you can see he's been working fucking double shifts so he can get the time off to go to the games. And you can that's a pig snout right there.
That's
so sick. Yeah, it's cool. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack it. Yeah. So now you're afraid someone's gonna slip some GW 1501156 into your drink.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
It's just some steroid that people have been popping for.
New supplement.
But
yeah, new supplement. Don't kiss Phil Toon. I love Phil Toon, sorry, but you still can't kiss him.
You still can't do that. But yeah, and then the other side of it was like, as kind of someone who's like, I guess for the people, right? I'm just kind of like thinking for the people. I'm like, the jerseys are not like, it's not even about the money. Like, it's totally not about the money. Like, me splitting the money with the other athletes doesn't do shit. It doesn't fix the problem. It's like, for me, it just feels like the right thing to do. I'm like, I'm not going to sit back and go, oh yeah, I got a jersey now, I'm going to take all this money and like because they voted me in this popularity contest. Like, I don't like that. That's just not how I roll. And in my eyes, everyone is like, should be equal. No one person is more valuable than the other. That's just how I do things. But the whole point too is like, we talk about the community and, you know, like, and then you're charging like, it's like $100 Australian. I'm like, I'm not going to ask my grandma to like spend $100. You know,
that's 3 gallons of gas in the United States.
On the pity jersey.
Yeah, on the pity jersey. I'm like, and
on the pity jersey.
But like, I'm half like, oh, it's cool. Like, I think families should have the opportunity, families and friends, like in your local gym or whatever, should have the opportunity. Like, they genuinely want to help. Like, I've been in gyms where they genuinely feel a part of your journey. Like, they love it. They see you train, they're in it. They're like, I want to buy your shirt. I'll spend that $100 on your shirt and I want to wear it. But they weren't even given the opportunity. Like, Colton's, you know, fans who know how hard he works. Baden Brown, like, working a full-time job.
Yeah, Baden's cool as shit too.
He's so cool. He's got like 3 Instagram followers, doesn't give a fuck. He had like
17 kids.
Yeah,
He's got more kids than Instagram followers.
Yeah, legit. And he works so hard and he's such a good dude.
Except for when he's fucking his wife making kids.
He works hard then too.
He works hard. He's doing a good job. But then I'm like, man, he deserves a jersey. Like, do a pre-order, man. Just do a pre-order and go, there's a cutoff here. They'll get sent later and then you can print them. I'm like, a big company, like, you can do it. They can print leader jerseys on the spot. They can make it happen. And if
that shit right?
Yeah. I'm like,
print
if it's
some
like,
shit.
And then you're not losing money. Like you're not losing money at all. No one's expecting you to lose money. You can still make your money on it.
Yeah.
And if 10 people want to buy that person's jersey and 10,000 want to buy that one, then cool, so be it. And then that's really giving back to the athletes and showing that, you know, we're actually valued for what we do and for showing up. And so I was like, yeah, I definitely like jersey or no jersey for me. Like it didn't matter. I was definitely more of the principle. It was just the principle of like, I kind of wanted to be like, hey, what were you thinking? Like, what were you actually thinking? What was the thought process behind this? Because it's not right. You know,
there wasn't.
Yeah. And
they're too scared to think over there, by the way. They're too scared. They live in a social pressure cooker over there.
No comment. But yeah, look, everything's like run by, you know, socials and whatever.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, like there's just too much weight. That's the side of it that I don't like. Right. But it is what it is. It's part of it. There's no point fighting back against it too much. But yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it. But yeah,
I like it. I like it because it gives me 20 minutes of shit to talk about on my show.
Content.
You'll have plenty more when someone puts something in my drink now because of like
what the fuck happened to her?
Whatever.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I don't take it for granted. It's cool having you here in the States. Last thing, when after the games, do you plan on staying or are you rushing straight home?
No, we're going home. Maddie took off like a month. He accessed his like long service leave from work to come over.
Okay.
So we're going to go home on Tuesday. So fly back into Texas and then we're going to fly out of Texas, like hang there for the day and go home. He's got to go back to work. And then we're hoping if all goes well, he's got another block of time where we might come back for the Rogue Invitational later in the year. So
cool.
Because I keep missing that. I've like kept missing that, like had a baby and then COVID.
You think you're going to be invited?
Well, who knows now? But I would like to, if I'm invited, I would like to make the effort.
You seem like maybe you're cut from the same cloth as one of the owners over there, Miss Katie Henniger. Did you guys have a relationship?
Yeah, so I've got a lot of respect for her. So I did the
I could see you guys totally being friends.
Yeah, and she seems kind of like no BS, like really
no
cool.
BS.
Yeah, she So when she won me over, I did the 2020 online Rogue Invitational, and I had to do it in the middle of the night, if you remember, because of the time frame. So I'd like feed my daughter, put her to bed, race down to the gym, work out all night, come back and parent. It was gnarly. But
wow.
And she like personally called me and just said like, hey, you know, like so proud of you. Thanks so much for being patient with us and having to do it in the middle of the night. And, you know, it was really great to have you part of the competition and stuff. And like took the time to like, I didn't expect that from someone, you know, out there. And yeah, that.
I mean, arguably the biggest person in the sport, one of the most influential
crazy.
people in the sport. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the way that they ran that competition, that's the only time I've had an interaction with the Rogue Invitational, and they did an absolute like impeccable job. And I've spoken highly of it ever since. It was a massive highlight of my career to do that purely because of how professional they ran it. The people knew how to do their job. Everyone knew what they were responsible for. The competition was fair. They just did it right. And it was like, yeah, it was definitely a highlight and they handled it with such grace. So I've got nothing bad to say about him at all. And yeah, Katie was awesome.
I'm thinking of all these fun knockoff shirts now. I want to...
Oh man.
What if there was a Ricky Garrard shirt and the Burning Twin Towers, we changed them to needles?
Oh my God.
I love Ricky. I love it. I mean, I think he could sell a ton of, if he could do that, I think he'd be willing to do that if he could sell, you know, make $3 million in shirts.
Mate, yeah, he takes it. He cops it on the chin for sure.
Oh,
yes.
He deserves to. He's the fucking best looking man fucking who's in the United States when he steps in here. He needs to
Oh man. Yeah. Well, yeah, you go make those shirts. You can be responsible for it.
I'm thinking, and I was thinking about the Danielle Brandon one could be the Burning Twin Towers Noble thing could be just her middle fingers.
Two middle fingers?
Yeah, 2 middle fingers. Yeah.
Wait, did you see my Instagram with my daughter doing that yesterday?
No, I want to see it.
So like I put on there, don't do smart ass things to your husband while your 3-year-old is watching. So she's like, I was packing to leave for Wisconsin last night and I've flipped off Maddie, like given him.
I see it. It's in her story. Yes.
Yeah. So I flipped him off and gone. He was sitting on the lounge, and I'm like, "Hey man, you want to pack this?" And like I've given him the finger. Next minute, Scotty's walking around. Hey Dad, you want to pack this? I give him the finger. I'm like, oh my God, are we bad parents or are we epic? I don't even know anymore.
Epic. Are you gonna pull? Oh, there you go.
So good.
Oh,
Do you want to pack this? Oh, she's so proud of herself. Look how she looks at her middle finger too. She can't even believe she can do that. Look at her. Watch how she looks at it here. Like, whoa, wow.
Yeah.
And then looks at you. That's
the coordination for a little kid to hold the other ones down. It's like a skill. I'm impressed. But I got it. Maddie got a message from my nana going like, "Oh, love, like, please don't do that," but also like a laughing face. Oh, so good. But yes, anyway.
All right. Thank you. We'll be rooting for you, and tell Maddie I said hi, and thanks for all your time, ma'am. You're the best. Slap Rich on the ass for me, please.
Thank you. Will do. I'll get Maddie to do it.
All right. Good. Perfect.
See you.
Thanks.
Bye. See if I'm doing who am I doing breakfast with this morning?
Really interesting perspective on the as an athlete perspective, losing faith in the title sponsor due to the stunt they pulled with these jerseys.
Well, explain. What do you mean?
Like she was just saying, like, just by how they go back and forth, and they had some jerseys, and then how they pick the people, and then when they got backlash, they're like, okay, we'll vote, and then now the vote's here, and now we have a bunch more, and so just kind of that wishy-washy, as she was putting it. It's like, now I'm supposed to come in and compete and hope that everything is going to be run fairly and everything else, when this is what we see.
Right.
Title sponsor.
Right.
And I realize
how much influence does the title sponsor have?
Yeah.
And their athletes get the lanes in the shade.
Yeah, they get the cold waters and the ice chests.
Right.
Everybody else runs out.
Right. And I maybe I'm naive. I don't think it's like that. But I also brought up the same thing. I also brought up the same thing with Eubanks. You know.
Yeah.
Like someone was saying, 20% of the athletes who are at the CrossFit Games are at Mayhem right now, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
place where kids are adopted. There's guns, and they don't believe in injecting drugs into kids, and yet one of the head enforcers at the games is against all that. Well, maybe not against adopting kids, but is okay with killing babies. It's like,
it gets a little squirrely, but I do know that if
it makes you think, at least it makes you think.
Yeah, for sure. But if Adrian were sitting here, he would tell us that the Noble has nothing to do with the way that the event is ran and scored and everything else. So, or doesn't have influence over it. So there is that. But
and he'd be telling the truth.
Yes, one thing you count on from him. There are a bunch more jerseys in here as I scroll through it, though.
Maybe in their defense too. I'm really okay with it. It's their. I'm really okay with, if it's your money, do what you want. Like I said that. Like CrossFit fires Dave. Like I don't think that they have to. I don't think that's their business to tell the world why they fired him. And if the affiliates want to get upset about it, that's their prerogative, because they pay $3,000 a month. But it's also HQ's prerogative to say fuck off. I understand both perspectives fully.
Yep.
And I understand if Noble just wants to put out jerseys that they think are going to sell well so that they can make their money back. They're not in the business of no one's in the business of losing money.
Right.
Giving it away.
But when you are being asked what to do, you should be honest about the decisions that you made and how you made those decisions, rather than trying to cover it up with this corporate babble and act like you're doing
or raise the price of the shirt $27 and say you're giving money to the. It's weird.
Yeah, and it's a good thing, like, we got people like Vindicate on here who actually, put it together, and Wad Zombie with the trading cards and stuff like that are not only giving to the community and to the fans, but also helping out the athletes in ways that they can. That's really cool.
It's VNDK8.com.
Yes. But Colton's pre-order has come to an end, so that's why I had to bring it up through the Instagram and not on the site. VNDK8.com. Victor, Nancy, Dick, Cara.
Thank you. 8.com. Oh, you know what's crazy? I never think and you never know what kids are noticing and not noticing. The other day when I was wearing my CEO shirt around the house, and my oldest son said, I like the one with the American flag. I didn't even know he knew what the American flag was.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, like, you never know what sticks. I wanted to ask her a question about the Mayhem thing. I was going to be like, hey, does like the weak links or the lesser athletes, do they clean up the equipment? Like, in my mind, I imagine this, and this probably isn't true at all, but like everybody's working out and warming up, and then like Rich enters the room and everybody kind of stops and like gives him his like as he like struts through, and then like if you're
Hey.
using his band to stretch with, you just like let go of the band and walk away, and he just slides in and starts stretching.
I guarantee you ask anyone, they say it's not like that, and I
know it's not
guarantee
like
you
that.
it is, but I guarantee you it is like that. Like when he walks in the gym, everyone knows he's
Rich
there.
is the big dog. Yeah, when he was at freaking Wadapalooza, you have like, I don't know, 500 people that are all kind of sitting there, and Rich walks in, and it's something like the whole event was just like boom, eyes on Rich, like how he was with the hotel, and the way he handles it is crazy. He's so good and so giving during those times too, which is nuts, because if you think about how many years he's been doing that for, that at some point you're like, get the fuck away from me and let me just walk from, you know, my hotel to the event without this swarm. But he's such a good dude.
I just got a text from Peter at Coffee Wads and Pods.
Oh,
that's all. He's doing live episodes during the games.
I saw something
awesome.
where Lauren Clill's trying to do that too.
She what?
Yeah,
is she really
stealing our bit?
I like it though. Here's the thing. Here's what we need to do with Peter's. When Peter goes live, we need to pull his stream onto our
with everybody.
Yeah, and like that'll be like we'll take a potty break. You know what I mean? Or we'll make fun of him. We'll just talk shit to him. What did he say? Is that English? Just make Peter, we're either going to make fun of you the whole time, or we're going to use your content for us to take a break. We're going to take a break now. Here's some time with Mr. Rogers from Coffee Wads and Pods.
Yeah, Lauren Clill and Dex Hops will be going live immediately following the final heat
at the CrossFit Games.
Yep.
Oh, and you know what she did really well. I've been going through, and I've been, I used all these guys to research, and she was getting people on the floor after one of the events. So that's what she's going to fucking do. She's going to have someone down on the floor. And after the events, those people will be
competing with me for the interview.
Yeah. She'll have someone like Patrick Clark running up with a cell phone and trying to get interviews.
So basically, I just got to wear my running shoes and just beat everybody to the interview, huh?
Yeah.
Or just wait and we just interview.
We will only be interviewing nude athletes, nude, N-U-D-E after. So if you want to see clothed athletes, go to Morning Chalk Up and Peter at Coffee Wads and Pods. If you want to see naked athletes, bums and boobies and vaginas and penises, you'll come to the Sevan Podcast. We need something. We have to keep pushing the bar.
That's right.
Have to. Wouldn't it have been crazy yesterday if when I opened the phone line, someone said some crazy shit to Danielle?
When you were saying that on the and you were like, I don't know what, someone says some crazy shit. She's like what? You're like, well, I can't say it because then I look crazy.
I could think of all sorts of crazy shit to say to her.
It was funny. I was listening to that as I was like finishing up at the gym, and I was thinking like of all the calls that we've had in the past. I was like, it could get pretty squirrely quickly.
Oh man,
especially with her on. Oh boy.
I'm going to see Greg Glassman speak today.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, I wrote down, we got a bunch of notes here because the schedule as we're leading up to the games is getting nuts.
So we have James Sprague and Dallin on at 6:30. Do we have someone at 7:15?
We do. They haven't completely confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you want me to say now or if we want to wait.
Let me guess. Is it Ricky Garrard?
No.
Oh, is it Justin Medeiros?
No.
Oh,
they're on cue. They're on cue. They'll be on, but not tonight.
And then, but we'll get someone probably.
Yeah, most likely.
So, okay. And then tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. we have Justin Nunley, TikTok comedian superstar. Darren Weeks will be talking about UFC 277. Then in the middle of the day, we have Amanda Barnhart.
Yep.
Okay. And then in the evening we have, and she'll probably be solo, like Cara Saunders was.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Lazar Jukic at 6:30, and then probably someone at 7:15.
Well, and I think we're going to be doing a show possibly with JR
and
Taylor as well. That'll fit in there. And then at any point in time, I have like another 5 athletes right in the queue as to like
we need Jay Crouch.
Yeah. So they're
Am I saying
him
his
and the
name
crew.
wrong? Is it Jay Crouch or Jay Crotch?
I think it's Jay Crouch.
I know. I would love to get Samuel. I really want to get Samuel. I want to get Rich, and I want to get Jay. I want to get Jay so bad. I need more. Like, he's a trip. Like, I think that dude's a stud. And I think we're gonna see that dude grow up right in front of us in the next 5 years.
Who?
Jake, the guy from Australia, the quiet dude. I always make fun of him for being an ass interview. He came on with Rob Forte.
Yeah.
He's a beast. Yeah, he's fun. Yeah, we got to get okay. So those are Rob Forte, Jay Crouch, Rich Froning, Angelo, Ricky Garrard, Justin Medeiros.
Yep.
Those are ones that we got to get in the queue.
Yep. We got a couple coaches on deck. We also have some prediction shows with Brian and John Young.
And we were talking with Kotler. Kotler is going to come on
this evening, potentially. Yeah. I didn't know if you want to drop that in or not, but
okay. Okay.
It's looking like tentatively right now we'll have Dallin and James 45 minutes, and then we'll jump over and we'll talk with Kotler for about 30 minutes or so.
Oh, this is a good idea. Okay. This is not a bad idea too, to get Royce.
Eric. Nice. That's a great idea. The only thing that might get screwy there is just time zones.
Yeah, good point.
But he might just say screw it.
I would get Laura with anyone. Like, Laura can come on with fucking Joe Biden. Like, Laura can bring whoever the fuck she wants.
We tried. I've tagged her and stuff, and I could see
Laura
her
can just come on and just turn her back to the screen the whole time.
Hey, that's gonna be our exclusive interview when I get her on the field. I'll just like hold the camera up right to her back.
She'll fuck you up. She'll beat your ass.
Yeah, she would, but that'd make great content. So I think it'd be a win-win for everybody.
Right. Hold my camera. Laura's about to beat my ass. Yeah. Okay, and then so Saturday's crazy. So maybe we need that on the calendar too. So Saturday's UFC in the morning. Amanda Barnhart. Then
that's Friday.
Friday. So Friday it's UFC. Yep. Amanda Barnhart 12. Then at 5 or 5:30, it'll be Taylor Self and J.R. Howell in the programming show. Yep. Then directly following that will be Lazar Jukic. And then Saturday, I really just want to do a live call-in show just with like the homies, just the regular listeners, and just talk shit. I got so much shit to get off my mind. And then Saturday night we do the draft. That's going to be a wild show. The Tyler Watkins draft. Yep. That's going to be some shit.
Draft. We got some cool. That panel of people is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I know this morning Chalk Up already had Chad Schrader on. I didn't watch it yet. I hope they're teaching him how to talk.
Was he on with Lauren?
He was. Yeah, he was on with Lauren. I didn't watch it. I need to watch it.
She makes everything good, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, he's got a giant brain. It's made for thinking, not so much talking. Chad, he's gonna like text me. What's that mean?
And then after the draft too, we got 2 prediction shows with Brian Sunday and Monday, which will be fun.
Oh, and that's with John Young.
Yeah. I love watching him and John Young battle. Like when they start nitpicking and arguing back and forth about stuff, it's awesome.
Brian acts like it's not getting under his skin. It's fucking getting under his skin.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah, it's getting under his skin.
But I think it's cool because it really gives both of them kind of a chance to show off their knowledge of the athlete and everything else as they clarify their points or they debate back and forth. And ultimately the audience here wins when they get to listen to that because we just learn a ton more and everything else. But I love watching them argue. Every time I can start to see it, I can start to see when Brian gets a little like, when it like he's like trying to play it cool, but you could tell he's getting annoyed, like John's getting under his skin. It's like that's the best.
Hey, will you pull up the video we did yesterday with Danielle Brandon on YouTube and go to the comments?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me how people just jump on Danielle's side.
Hopefully, I'm gonna mute myself for a sec so it doesn't bring up.
Okay. I want to find what this one guy wrote, and I just don't understand how. I think that the only thing we can know is this from the little bit that I've listened to, or the lot of it. Keep going. I don't see how you could like this. Look at this. I'm John Ross. I don't see how you could cut ties with an athlete like Brandon, even if she's hard to deal with. One of the best athletes with the biggest followings. I don't even get that. I don't even know.
I don't see how you could cut ties with an athlete like Brandon if she's hard to deal
Like
with.
I could think of 10,000 reasons to cut ties with someone, no matter how big of an athlete or like. It's like, I don't understand how you could not get the injection. The CDC said you should take it. I mean,
Because they're
like
so popular.
someone stopped and typed that out on YouTube right there. And there's so much crazy shit on here. Yeah, keep going. There's a I don't think Danielle told more than she wanted to. Damn, you're good, Sevan. I'll take that. But Danielle, they cancels it out when you said she told more. No, she didn't.
DB told way more than she wanted to. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
she got a call where a coach dumped her. I'm just trying to see.
I'm excited to have Kotler on. I reached out to him. I just want in the gentlest way. Want it to be smooth, like, or at least give them both a chance to make it smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one wants the parents fighting. No one wants their friends fighting. They're, Good morning, Mr. James Townsend. Good morning. All right, guys. I will see you this evening. It's going to be a great show, and I'll try to take some pictures of the event and get some video footage of Greg speaking today.
Only coming out in the newsletter if you want to see it.
Yeah, you better sign up for the
newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter.
That's what I meant to say. And I'm not going to share it. Okay, bye.